What's the kirtan? Traffic is so bad. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Bhaji Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Bala Bhagiri Hari Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Raghunati Rambana Jamuna Tirambana Jai Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Bala Bhagiri Hari Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tirambana Jamuna Tirambana Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Bala Bhagiri Hari Or Premanandi Hari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Together please. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Vito Jayam Udiraya. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Preshwabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Like we are reading the chapter 7 of the third canto, entitled Further Inquiries by Vidura. And I'm just going to tell you there are a bunch of them. Okay, so we're going to read through all these questions real quickly, about 21 of them, and then we'll focus in on one particular topic. So everyone, please be ready with your microphones. Let's see if we can do it without a delay between speakers. All right, this is our great competition. Or we could read them all together. What would you prefer? No, one at a time. Okay, too many questions. All right, then be ready. Okay. Text 21.
After creating the total material energy, the Mahat-Tattva, and thereby manifesting the gigantic universal form of the senses and sense organs, the Supreme Lord entered within it.
The Purusha incarnation, lying on the causal ocean, is called the original Purusha in the material creations, and his Virat form, in whom all the planets and their inhabitants live, he has many thousands of legs and hands.
O great Brahmana, you have told me that the gigantic Virat form in senses, sense objects, and 10 kinds of life air exist with 3 kinds of life vigor. Now, if you will, kindly explain to me the different powers of the specific conditions.
Oh my Lord, I think that the process manifests in the form of sons, grandsons, and family members is spread all over the universe in different varieties and species.
Brahmana, please describe how the leader of all demigods, namely the Prajaparti Brahma, decided to establish the various
Manus.
The heads of the agents. Please describe the manis also, and please describe the descendants of those manis.
Sure.
O son of Mitra, kindly describe how the planets are situated above the earth, as well as underneath it. And also please mention their measurement as well as that of earthly planets.
Also, please describe the living beings under different classifications: subhumans, humans, those born of an embryo, those born of perspiration, those who are twice born, birds, and the plants and vegetables. Kindly describe the generations and subdivisions also.
Okay, short timeout. Those living entities born of perspiration are bugs. Bugs. It's germs. Okay.
Please also describe the incarnations of the material modes of nature, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. And please describe the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his magnanimous activity.
Yeah.
Oh, great state. Kindly describe the divisions and parties of human society in terms of symptoms, behavior, and the characteristics of mental equilibrium and sense control. Also, please describe the births of the great sages and the categorical divisions of the Vedas.
Please also describe expansions of different sacrifices in the path of mystic powers, analytically study of knowledge and the devotional service, all with their respective regulations.
Please also describe the imperfections and contradictions of the faithless atheists, the situation of crossbreeding, and the movements of the living entities in various species of life according to their particular modes of nature and work.
Oh.
So next question. You may also describe the non-contradictory causes of religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and salvation, and also the different means of livelihood and different process of law and art, as mentioned in the Bible scriptures.
Okay, short pause here. These 4 non-contradictory causes of religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and salvation. These are called the 4 goals of human life, the 4 ordinary goals of human life. People are after these 4 things respectively. So they're sequential. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So religiosity means doing your duty, being a good person. Then from that comes economic development. And then economic development leads to sense gratification. Exactly. Get money, And you enjoy. And then after sense gratification, then again, salvation. That was not fun. So dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. You do your duty. It's like Monday through Friday, you go to work, do your duty. Friday, you get paid. Saturday, sense gratification. Sunday, go to church. I'll never do it again. And then back to Monday. So this is the cyclical activities of ordinary human beings. Next.
Also explain the regulations for offering respects to the forefathers, the creation of the
Pitriloka.
the time schedule in the planets, stars, and luminaries in their respectful situation.
Please also describe the fruitive results of charity and penance and of digging reservoirs of water. Please describe the situation of persons who are away from home and also the duty of a man in an awkward position.
Prema, you want to start again? Back to you.
Oh, sinless one, because the personality of Godhead, the controller of all living entities, is the father of all religion, and all those who are candidates for religious activities, kindly describe how he can be completely satisfied.
O best among the Brahmanas, those who are spiritual masters are very kind to the needy. They're always kind to their followers, disciples, and sons. And without being asked by them, the spiritual master describes all that is knowledge.
We actually have a few men left in back. Go ahead.
Please describe how many dissolutions there are for the elements of material nature and who survives after the dissolutions to serve the Lord while he sleeps.
What are the truths regarding the living entities in the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What are their identities? What are the specific values in the knowledge in the Vedas? And what are the necessities for the spiritual master and his disciples?
Spotless devotees of the Lord have mentioned the source of such knowledge. How could one have knowledge of devotional service and attachment without the help of such devotees?
My dear sage, I have put all these questions before you with a view to knowing the pastimes of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the friend of all, so kindly describe them for all those who have lost their vision.
So spotless one, your answers to all these questions will grant immunity from all material miseries. Such clarity is greater than all Vedic charities, sacrifices, penances, etc.
Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, thus the chief of the sages, who was always enthusiastic about describing topics regarding the personality of Godhead, began to narrate the descriptive explanation of the Puranas, being so infused by Vidura. He was very much enlivened by speaking of the transcendental activities of the Lord.
Thank you very much. Okay, that was great. You did great. Pretty well. It's enough open-ended questions even from me. Okay, text 39. 39, yeah, we're gonna do 39 instead of 36. It's a little more expansive purport. Okay. Nimitani chatasyeha proktanyamanga surabhi swato jnanam kuta pungsam bhaktir vairagyam evava nimitani chatasyeha proktanyamanga surabhi swato jnanam kuta pungsam bhaktir vairagyam evava. Okay, please chant. Nimitani kitasevam Surabhi Swata Jnanam Kuta Pumsam Bhaktir Vairagyam Evava. Nimitani chatasyeha. Prokanya naghasuripi. Swata jnanam hitabdumsam. Bhakti vairagyam evava. Anyone else? Synonyms together, please. Nimitani, the source of knowledge. Cha, also. Tasya, of such knowledge. Iha, in this world. Proktani, mentioned. Anagha, spotless. Suribhi, by devotees. Swata, self-sufficient. Jnanam, knowledge. Buddha, how. Pungsam, of the living entity. Bhakti, devotional service. Vairagyam, detachment. Eva, certainly. Va, also. And translation together. Spotless devotees of the Lord have mentioned the source of such knowledge. How could one have knowledge of devotional service and detachment without the help of such devotees? Purport. There are many inexperienced persons who advocate self-realization without the help of a spiritual master. They decry the necessity of the spiritual master and try themselves to take his place by propagating the theory that the spiritual master is not necessary. Srimad Bhagavatam, however, does not approve of this viewpoint. Even the great transcendental scholar Vyasadeva had need of a spiritual master, and under the instruction of his spiritual master, Narada, he prepared this sublime literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. Even Lord Chaitanya, although he is Krishna himself, accepted a spiritual master. Even Lord Krishna accepted a spiritual master, Sandipani Muni, in order to be enlightened. And all the acharyas and saints of the world had spiritual masters. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna accepted Lord Krishna as the spiritual master, although there was no necessity of such a formal declaration. So in all cases, there is no question about the necessity of accepting a spiritual master. The only stipulation is that the spiritual master should be bona fide. That is, the spiritual master must be in the proper chain of disciplic succession called the Parampara system. Suris are great scholars, but they may not always be anagha or spotless. The anagha Suri is one who is a pure devotee of the Lord. Those who are not pure devotees of the Lord or who want to be on an equal level with him are not anagha Suri. Pure devotees have prepared many books of knowledge on the basis of authorized scriptures. Srila Rupa Goswami and his assistants, under the instructions of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, have all written various literatures for the guidance of prospective devotees. And anyone who is very serious about raising himself to the standard of a pure devotee of the Lord must take advantage of these literatures. So again, spotless devotees of the Lord have mentioned the source of such knowledge. How can one have knowledge of devotional service and detachment without the help of such devotees? Back in high school, I had a good friend named Ernie. And Ernie and I were into exploring ways of expanding awareness and consciousness through various methods. So one of our favorite writers was an author named Krishnamurti. Anyone ever heard of Krishnamurti? A few victims. Okay. So Krishnamurti, we would read Krishnamurti's books and just try so hard to understand them because there was something attractive and mystical about them. But trying to get something out of them was like nailing yogurt on the wall. You know? It's just like nothing would stick. Right? There was a certain veneer of spirituality and mysticism about it, but you really couldn't get anything tangible. So we parted, went our separate ways. By Krishna's grace, I met devotees and started chanting. And I called Ernie and said, "You really should try out this chanting." So he came out to visit me in Los Angeles. And but he had been pursuing other forms of altering consciousness. And so he was a little too altered for the ashram by that point. And so So he went back to Albuquerque, where we were from. But devotees would come and visit him from time to time. And he knew that Krishna consciousness was, okay, here are some tangible techniques. You just have to have a guru, the Prabhupada, the guru to teach us. Somehow he couldn't wrap his head around that. And so ended up committing suicide, actually, my dear friend. So this injunction about getting a spiritual master is something that Krishnamurti was really against. He was saying, you don't need a spiritual master, right? You can find out by yourself if you're just introspective enough, if you're quiet enough, if you meditate enough. You will find out your own inner guide. And this is very appealing because it's risky to take a spiritual master, right? To take a guru. Has anyone experienced some reservations in life about accepting a guru? Kunti, what was your experience? You got a mic, Andy? Please. What were your reservations?
Well, my understanding of having a guru was like not very mature. I thought it was like, okay, you choose a guru and then whatever they tell you, you just have to do it. Otherwise, you're not going back to Godhead. So I was really scared of putting myself in the hands of someone like that, knowing that, because also like, I was thought like, you know, the guru is perfect. They cannot make a mistake. And so I thought, but what if they do? What if they do it? I can't say that they do, and then I just have to follow, and then I end up not being taken care of. That was kind of my fear.
Thank you very much. I think a lot of us share those feelings, right? You're first of all, you're putting yourself in someone's hands with the understanding, which is not accurate, by the way, and whatever the guru tells me, I must do. Okay. There are examples of gurus giving orders and their disciples not following them in the Shastras, such as Bhishma and Parasuram. But that's another subject. The other item, though, that you mentioned is, what if my guru makes a mistake? So this is called buyer's remorse. Right? Have you ever bought something and then found out it was a lemon and regretted it? And so this is a really heavy commitment. I'm going to take a guru, a spiritual guide, but then what if it turns out to be a lemon? Is there a warranty? You know, is there a free returns policy? Yes. Krishnamurti said, you don't need a guru. And Prabhupada, when this argument was brought up to him, said, you don't need a guru. And of course, this is appealing. Then you don't have to take that risk. And when this was brought up to Prabhupada, he said, so he writes books that say you don't need to read books. And he teaches to say that you don't need a teacher. So no wonder we couldn't nail the yogurt to the wall. There was nothing. It was so irrational. So what if the guru makes a mistake? The word is used in the purport in this verse, anagha, which means spotless. So what if we accept the guru and then later we find out that we somehow lose faith in this guru? Something they say, something they do, some character flaw that we may not have noticed before. Where does that leave us? This is kind of like Arjuna asks in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is giving him instructions on yoga. He says, what if I take it up but I fail? Then I've lost my material life and my spiritual life. I have like no position. Try again. What's? What?
I said, I don't know about Arjuna's case.
Use the microphone, please. Microphone. So, yeah.
I said you try it again. I don't know if like Arjuna would be able to try again. Like formally in the
Okay, that's basically what Krishna said. Try again. He said, if you try and don't make it all the way, in your next life you'll take it up at that same position. So there's no loss. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. So are we then? Suppose we place our faith in a guru and then we become disappointed somehow. Are we the losers? Have we lost? We may be brokenhearted, right? But our sincere offering to Krishna has been accepted because we took Krishna's direction. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. To approach me, Krishna says, approach the guru, approach the spiritual master.
I think are you saying if the guru like deviates or just some minor character?
Either way. And sometimes we might perceive the guru has done something wrong, but it may be a matter of subjective opinion. Or the guru may visibly do something, specifically like breaking the regulator principles. So it's important to understand at that point that either way, if we have lost faith, then we can find another guru. This is the point. It isn't unprecedented in our tradition. A great devotee of Lord Chaitanya named Narahari Sakar wrote specifically about this. If you lose faith in your guru, then take shelter of another Vaishnava. Now, if our guru has not blatantly deviated, but we somehow lose faith, it's simply a matter of courtesy to say, hey, I've lost faith in you, or I'm attracted to taking instruction from this other person. May I have your blessings? Okay. So if we're in the Sangha of Prabhupada's followers, there's generally no problem with that. If we want to go outside of that Sangha, well, our guru may say that you're going to lose this great opportunity of having the Sangha of Prabhupada's followers. One of Prabhupada's own disciples went to Radhakund and met a Babaji, and then went to ask Prabhupada for his blessings. I want to take Diksha from this Babaji, who was not in a disciplic succession. So Prabhupada declined to give his blessings. But Prabhupada did admit that when one disciple left, he said, I can understand why he would have lost faith in me, but how could he lose faith in the scriptures? So the guru is a necessary connection with Krishna, but the guru is not necessarily perfect. The guru is taking a responsibility for us, and for that we should be grateful. Like parents take a responsibility. If they're good parents, they take responsibility for their children. They show up for them, they provide for them, they're giving of themselves without any expectation of return. So that's what it means to be a spiritual teacher. To give of oneself without any expectation, without any strings attached. Now Kunti, you were saying how your initial idea of a guru is that I have to do whatever the guru says. The guru, so I can just hear my mother say, if your guru told you to jump off a bridge, would you do it? Your mother say that? Same thing? What do you think, Edway?
Just take the parachute.
Probably one moment, just a moment, I get to it. So right, so we have a check and balance system. Did you explain this to your mom? We have a check and balance system. There are three checks and balances. What are they? Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Right. So it is a triumvirate, like the old Roman government. There has to be agreement on all three. So if the guru says jump off a bridge, you can reasonably ask, where in the Shastra does it say I should jump off a bridge? And what other sadhus before me have jumped off this bridge? So just as in buying a product, it pays to do your research up front, right? It pays to be an informed consumer. Otherwise, you might buy a deficient product. So in the same way, before taking a guru, one should know what are the qualifications of a guru, what does it mean to have this relationship, and to be able to evaluate objectively the instructions we get from our guru. And if we feel there is some discrepancy, and my guru is telling me this, but the Shastra says that, we should ask. That's called a pariprashna, or a relevant question. So it's not a matter of blindly following whatever guru says. All right, Kunti? All right. Yes. Now, just to contextualize this, when Srila Prabhupada was with us in the 60s and 70s, there were a very small number of devotees, relatively small number of devotees, and everybody was living in an ashram. There was no congregation to speak of. So we were all like in our teens and 20s and saying, tell us what to do. Because we all knew Prabhupada had a limited time. He had this wonderful mission. It had brought so much joy to us. And he was asking us, please try to share with others. No ulterior motive whatsoever. And we could see that. He was just trying to help people. And we were young, idealistic, and very happy to do it. We just didn't know very much. So we'd ask him this. We'd ask him everything. And he would tell us very specifically, do this, do this, do this. After some years, then he organized a managing body, the governing body, and said, now let them give directions. So he was not burdened by every little management issue. And so this way, it was a little different in those days. Now things are entirely different as far as the demographics are concerned. We understand that most people are not going to be religious professionals. Most people are not going to live in ashrams and work in temples their entire lives. That's what happened in my generation. We were all religious workers, and then we all went out and began our householder life, 95%. And so now we want to train people to be prepared for that most likely development, okay? And not restrict our notions to just, you stay in the temple and do this and this and this. Okay, so, okay. Any questions on this? Kavi had a comment. Yes, please.
What if your guru is a lemon, but you don't know, and he presents himself like a flower?
Guru's a lemon, but you don't know it. Yeah, this happens a lot because people are not educated consumers, right? They're not prepared. They don't know the qualifications. What are the qualities of the spiritual master? So Arjuna asks this question a couple of times in the Bhagavad Gita. So what are the qualities of an enlightened person? Anyone remember what Krishna says? Prajahati yada kaman sarvaparta manogatam. Go ahead, Blake. Is that mic on?
Yeah, this is on.
Okay, well, speak loud, please.
So if I remember correctly, it's something like, in sorrows, it's not over sorrow, and joy, it's not over joy. It's something like, just as the rivers flow into the sea, the world of senses pours into the yogi, is untouched, serene, calm, equanimity is yoga.
Beautiful. Yes, very nice. It's in chapter 2 of the Gita, verse 72, I believe. Yeah, this is towards the end of the second chapter is one of these instances where Arjuna asks this question. So if you look in the Gita in that section, yes, specifically before that verse, Krishna says that Prajahati yada kama sarvapartamano atmaniyeva atmana tushta. When one no longer finds satisfaction externally, but knows how to find it within. Atmaniyeva atmana tushta. Tushta means satisfaction. So when one is satisfied within, the things of the world are less intrusive. Yeah, that's one of the symptoms he mentions. Any other symptoms, qualities of the spiritual master? Okay, can we pass the mic over for Kalindi, please? Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So I was just, thank you first off for all of your points, very nice. I was just remembering one time there's a devotee that told Srila Prabhupada, I'm going to trust you, and there's a whole story with that. But anyway, and Srila Prabhupada answered, he said, no, he said, don't trust me. He said, I will disappoint you. He said, you trust Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I thought, anyway. And then there was another point with two devotees that I knew who have very nice spiritual masters, bona fide spiritual masters inside of this time. They're still getting mixed up. But one was disappointed with the spiritual master because he didn't like the behavior.
that he had. And he decided to take shelter of another one of his god brothers as a Shisha guru because he's still God. But anyway, there was another one also that I knew that her guru was very far away. And there was another guru that was very close. And so she was serving that guru and she took so much shelter of him.
By proximity.
Yeah, by proximity. And she considered him even more important than her Diksha guru as her Shisha guru.
Okay, these are good examples. So the point is that we are always in need of a spiritual guide. There's no point where we become, it's just me and Krishna. We're tight. You don't need anyone to answer to. I just get my directions directly from God. Right? You ever heard this? So if we are speaking what Krishna speaks, then we're speaking on behalf of Krishna. If we're speaking something else and just imagining it's coming from Krishna, well, this is a lemon in spiritual life. This is the kind of thing that can hurt us.
So many thoughts. But one thing is, one question can be that, well, if devotees just start being whimsical, like, oh, actually, I didn't like what my spiritual teacher or master said today, or they did this or that, or based on some somewhat superficial things. And then one can just jump from one teacher to another. And then it makes me think of the Buddha was saying how Narottam Das Thakur wrote, there's so many examples of disciples being super loyal to their gurus. And also, of course, the philosophy being that the relationship is eternal with the spiritual master. And so how do we reconcile these things so that it's not just sentimental, but also that philosophically we hear that it's eternal relationship.
Right.
So how do you reconcile that with what you're saying?
Yes. So the faith of the disciple is very delicate, especially in the beginning. And that might happen, that one may lose confidence. That's what I was addressing. However, if it's whimsical, if there's really no solid basis for it, then that will only impede the disciple's growth. Therefore, the stress is given to serve faithfully. In other words, it does need to be some good reason. Yeah, I appreciate your point. I changed my mind. I think I'll take this. What day is it? Tuesday? I think I'll do this. So the way ISKCON has changed, the way our Sangha has changed, is that we used to be very dependent on our guru for every small instruction, but now our main connection with our guru is through the initiation vows. And before or after initiation, it's the same. The 4 regulative principles, 16 rounds, that connects us with Prabhupada. That's, you could say, is our warranty, that if we're following those vows, then we have a good chance of straightening out any kind of interpersonal issues we might have. Tesham Satata Yuktanam, Krishna gives intelligence. So in this case, let's follow up. So say somebody whimsically rejects their guru, well then they will get some sort of reaction for that, especially if their guru is qualified. And if, on the other hand, one in good faith is looking for another guide, then one will also get inspiration in that pursuit. So everything really depends on our happiness, on our joy, on our ability to serve Krishna joyfully. If we are blaming someone else for our problems, what will happen is we'll lose our taste for Krishna consciousness. So we have to accept the responsibility if our relationship with our guru might be interrupted. Yes. I'm just trying to be very practical here because it happens often, as Kalindi is saying. Relationships change, and we have a tremendous overemphasis on Diksha in ISKCON and a tremendous underappreciation for Shiksha. We're trying to level that because according to Shastra, they're the same. So normally the Diksha Guru becomes our Siksha Guru, or Siksha Guru rather becomes our Diksha Guru, but not necessarily our only Siksha Guru. And to claim exclusivity, you only have to listen to me, is a kind of fallacy on the part of immature spiritual leaders. Because as Chanakya Pandit says, good instruction can come from many, many sources.
And so at any point, I mean, one could have still maintained the relationship with Diksha Guru, but have maybe Siksha Gurus, right?
Yes.
If they somehow at some stage they're finding some more inspiration from one particular person after some time. And so one need not disregard the Diksha Guru because you have
right. If the Diksha Guru is in good standing, and to disregard would not be correct. Yeah. If the Diksha Guru has not done something to violate his trust in the relationship, then that's, at the same time, there's plenty of other instructions that we can take if we find inspiration elsewhere. This is the point. It's personal. Everything is very personal. What does not work, I'm right with you, is to, as Prabhupada is writing the purport, to say, I don't need a guru. And sometimes a person who accepts everybody doesn't accept anybody. You know what I mean? So everyone's my guru. He said, hey, yeah, everyone's my guru, so I can do whatever I want. Or this guru's telling me something, I think I'll find another guru to tell me something different.
Go shopping.
Go shopping, yeah. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhupada says somewhere that the genuine spiritual master knows the nature of the disciple, so he doesn't generally ask him to do something that's unreasonable.
Yes, this is a really good point.
I think that was the most important thing. Kind of a little funny thing is about jumping off the bridge. At least our generation in this country, everybody's heard that. I actually saw a birthday card or something one time. There's a bunch of stick figures on the bridge. A bunch of them were jumping off. And there's one that wasn't jumping off. And they said, "See, this is all my friends jumping off the bridge. And this is me not doing it."
All right. People think that, isn't it? When you take a guru, they think you're expressing some sort of personal deficiency where you can't make up your own mind or you can't make your own decisions.
To go back to Godhead, you have to be within the Parampara system of gurus? Because there's so many different gurus, like out of the Parampara system.
Now, Prabhupada said that the sincerity is their God consciousness. However, in the Gita, he does specify that one should find a spiritual master. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshaya sakalaneha mahata yoga nashta parampara. To approach Krishna according to Krishna's direction, we have to go through the parampara. So there are many gurus who will take our money, but not many who will take our karma.
That's not possible.
Again, the sincere effort to come closer to God in any tradition, in any situation, is always of value. So even if somebody is misled, their sincerity is their God consciousness, Prabhupada said. But what we have to do to offer them is very scientific. I want to just dwell on this for just a moment, if I may, because we don't want to be just fanatic. Our way is the only way. The only way is to love God. That's the only way. And now, how do you love God? Love means bhakti. Bhakti means loving God. So if somebody says, you better believe my way or else you're going to hell, that's not love. That's a threat. That doesn't work. That's not the way. That's not the method. When Jesus was asked, for example, what is your first commandment? You remember? He said, love thy Lord thy God with all thy heart, mind, and soul. That was number one. And number two was love thy neighbor as thyself. So what helps us develop love is the guru's job is to help us love Krishna. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada, yasya prasada nagati katopi. However, if our motivation is mixed, and Sanat Kumar tells Prithu Maharaj, the biggest obstacle in spiritual life is that people don't give it their first priority. Okay. So, we're listening to a lecture, but we're doing something on our phone or something else. If we are reading, but we're, just giving very little attention, we're thinking about, or chanting about, thinking about something else like this. So Krishna reciprocates. He can give us a guru who will not be in parampara, not have the real message of love. And however, if we're dead serious, if it's our first priority, Manusyanam Sahasreshu. That's why Krishna House is such a special place, because people who come and actually take shelter at Krishna House are people who have somehow managed to put spirituality as their top priority in life. And that, you know, it's easier when you're young and unattached. It's harder when you're older and have attachments. That's why this is basically a place for young people or older detached people like Narada Rishi. Yes, Prabhu, what is?
One thing, what I understand, that spiritual master is our best friend. And also, he never thinks that I want to send my disciple, I'm upset with my disciple, I want to send him hell. Never. And importantly, he is the external manifestation of Krishna.
Yes. Yes.
That's very important.
This is the point, that Krishna manifests to us in the form of the spiritual master.
Yes.
Yes. That doesn't mean the spiritual master is Krishna, but Sakshad Hari Tvena Samasta Shastra. All the scriptures, saintly persons say that the spiritual master is representing.
Right.
Just like an ambassador represents a country. Ambassador is not the whole country, just a representative. But if you want to treat the country nicely, you treat the ambassador nicely.
He says, as good as Krishna, but not Krishna.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, get to. Oh, Blake had a question then. Go ahead.
I saw a quote from Sri Ananda Mahima saying that it's like no matter if you want self-realization and nothing else, then whether you do what I say or not, you will certainly attain to that goal. I thought it was interesting, the first statement, if you want that and nothing else, which I feel like is mostly unrealistic. And then I also have a question with this, that I'm thinking about, we're talking about going shopping and stuff. Maybe a lot of that is because a lot of us may go to a guru because we're trying to get what we want instead of trying to actually surrender what we want to serve higher good and serve Krishna.
Well, if what we want is self-realization, that point is very valid, and we'll get a guru accordingly. If our motives are mixed, then we would not get somebody so selfless and qualified.
Or maybe like we might have someone that we're trusting, and then all of a sudden they say something that goes against what I personally want. And it's like, oh, and I'm going to go over here. Like, I'm going to look for someone who's going to tell me what I want to hear. Versus letting go of what I want to hear to actually take the position of being humble to, see what I'm saying?
Yeah, there was a very, very popular guru in the 80s and 90s whose philosophy was just come and have as much sense gratification as you possibly can, and then you'll get burned out, and then you'll be enlightened. Very popular. Very popular, yeah.
I think it's also important to know that you should always communicate and be honest with your guru, because, for example, you might have health issues, or you might have circumstances in your personal life, whether it be job, family, so many things. And if they're unknowing of the whole picture, they won't be able to assist you as well as they could.
Thank you for bringing up that point. In other words, this kind of relates to what Kunti was saying. Okay, well, my guru said to do this, so I have to do it even if it kills me. No, that isn't Krishna consciousness. Because the guru is trying to help us. Genuine guru is just trying to help us learn to love Krishna. And that cannot be done by our own strenuous efforts. It is only done by our sincere efforts combined with Krishna's grace. And Krishna gives his grace when the guru is pleased. So that's why there needs to be a person involved that we can develop a relationship with. And this is what you say is very important. In any relationship, being able to be honest is so important. And it's difficult sometimes to be honest with people when we have some apprehensions about them. And we have some doubt. So those doubts need to be brought, frankly. If we can just bring them in way which is not violent, which does not make the person defensive. Gurudev, these are my feelings. What do you think? Or Prabhu, my friend, my parent, my spouse, whomever. This is what I'm feeling about you right now. Please share your thoughts. Okay? This is non-violent. And I'm just gaining this realization in my old age. This is what creates so much friction in our Sangha. When we think, oh, I got to reveal my mind to somebody else. When in fact we have an issue with one person. Take it right to the person, even if it's a difficult conversation. So here's what I'm thinking. Please tell me. All right, anything else? Okay, so Pradeep,
I think like, and I see like that the best guru loves the disciple more than parents and love and care like that. And the best disciple cares and love for guru more than parents.
Well, it's true.
The favor of peace.
This is a very delicate point your mom would probably not like. But we see practically, the parents give us the body, and the guru teaches us how to get rid of the body, or how to not have to take another one. Not jump off the bridge. But it's how to make this the last time around. All right. Yeah, anything else? I hope was this relevant? Was this useful for you? Okay, thank you. So you please become gurus and try to liberate this land. That was Lord Chaitanya's humble request of us, each and every one of us. Yari Dahatari Kaha Krishna Upadesh. Just learn this teaching about Krishna, and then Amar Jai Guru Hoy Tara Edesh. You try to share with others and liberate everyone around you. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prasade Govinde.